Yes people, what is going on? So today I'm going to show you an individual training session that you can do to improve your dribbling. Dribbling is obviously essential for football because if we're able to dribble effectively and efficiently with the ball, we're able to gain yards and create opportunities for our teammates. Also, this session is going to consist of a warm-up, which is going to last around 10 to 15 minutes long, followed by some drills and a cool down to finish off the session. But yeah, that's enough talking from me. Let's get on with the session.
So before every session, it's important that you start with a dynamic warm-up. It's important that we perform a dynamic warm-up rather than static stretches to get our bodies prepared for the session ahead. So by starting off with a dynamic warm-up, we're able to increase our blood flow and range of motion in those muscle groups that we're working throughout the session. A warm-up is also not only good for reducing the risk of injury, but for also improving our performance. If you've ever gone into a training session or a match without doing a proper warm-up, you'll notice a massive impact on your performance. So with my dynamic warm-up, I place 2 cones down approximately 4 meters away from each other and start off with a few jogs back and forth before performing any dynamic stretches. I then go into performing a few dynamic stretches and movements, focusing on those muscle groups in which I know will be under a lot of load during the session. So making sure my range of motion in those muscle groups is good before I start the session, as I don't want to get any injuries.
So why is it so hard to let you go?
After a few minutes of going back and forth from one cone to the other and performing those dynamic stretches, I tend to just give myself around 30 seconds to dynamically stretch any muscles that feel tight. So I tend to get tight hamstrings, so I always just give myself 30 seconds to do some straight leg kicks to ensure they have a good range of motion and that they're ready to go. If you have other muscle groups that are tight, then this is the period to get them stretched out. So after performing a dynamic warm-up, I move on to increasing the intensity with a few acceleration and changing direction exercises. So this part of the session is still part of our warm-up and gets us used to performing patterns of movement that we're going to be doing later in the session. So with dribbling in particular, it's important that you're able to quickly change direction as well as accelerate with the ball in order to give yourself the best opportunity to beat the opposing player. For the size of the box, look to make the box approximately 2 meters long and 2 meters wide. And for each of the 6 exercises that I'm performing, look to perform 2 reps of each exercise. So now with our heart rate up along with our muscles being activated, it's time to bring the balls out. What I like to do before I get into any dribbling drill is get a feel for the ball. This is so I can get used to the ball at my feet and feel comfortable in possession of the ball. So what I'm going to do before I get into the first drill is just do some dynamic ball mastery exercises. I like to do a few ball mastery exercises, especially dynamic ball mastery exercises before a dribbling session, as it gets me used to moving and manipulating the ball. It also gives me an opportunity to work on my ball control with different parts of my foot. So to perform these dynamic ball mastery exercises, look to set up a rectangle that is approximately 2 meters wide and 5 meters long. Look to also perform 2 reps of each ball mastery exercise. So after we finished our dynamic ball mastery exercises, we're going to go into the first drill of the session, which is a very basic 10 meter sprint with the ball. The 10 meter sprint with the ball will enable you to work on your acceleration with the ball as well as your ability to run with the ball at speed. When sprinting with the ball, don't just push the ball and run, look to keep the ball close to you and focus on the weight of your touches so you're in control of the ball at all times. For this drill, look to set up 2 gates that are 10 meters apart. Look to also complete 10 sets of this drill, each set should be followed by 15 seconds rest. The second drill of the session is going to be the cross weave drill. So it's important that when we're dribbling with the ball that we're able to move and manipulate the ball in different directions. This is so you can get the defenders to shift their body weight and get them off balance in order for you to go past them. So for this drill you want to set up a 4-cone diamond with another cone in the centre of the diamond. The 4 cones on the outside should be approximately 4 metres away from the middle cone. So for this drill you want to begin on one of the 4 outside cones and start by sprinting to the middle cone. As soon as you reach the middle cone you want to run either to your left or your right and make your way round the cones following the same direction until you reach your starting cone. Look to perform 8 sets of this drill, 4 sets to your left and 4 sets to your right. Each set should be followed by 15 to 20 seconds rest. The third drill we're going to be performing is the T-cone weave. This is a good drill for working on your acceleration and deceleration whilst changing direction with the ball. This is also a great drill for working on your ball control as you constantly weave throughout the cones, similar to the cross weave. For this drill you want to place one cone down as a starting point and then place another cone down approximately 4 metres in front of you. Next to that cone you want to place another 2 cones either side that are approximately 4 metres away. So for this drill you also want to complete 8 sets, 4 sets each way. Each set should be followed by 15 to 20 seconds rest. The final drill that we're going to go through is suicides. The constant back and forth running that is involved in suicides is great for working on your change of direction with the ball. Also, by making the rest time short for this drill is also great for working on your fitness. So a really good drill to finish on, but it's important that you work as hard as you possibly can to get the most out of the drill. Focus on having good technique throughout the entire drill, even when you're tired. For this drill you want to set up 4 cones that are approximately 4 metres away from one another. So for this drill you want to begin on one of the 2 end cones and start by running to the closest cone in front of you. You then want to return back to the starting cone and then turn and sprint to the second cone. You want to repeat this process until you've sprinted to all 3 cones in front of you. Look to complete 8 sets of this drill. Each set should be followed by 15 seconds rest. So that's all of the dribbling drills done, but before we finish off the session, it's important that we do some static stretching. This is so we can decrease the impact of DOMS, otherwise known as delayed onset muscle soreness, and prepare our bodies for the next session. With a lot of load being put for our legs in this session, it's important that we stretch all the major muscle groups in our lower body. So look to stretch each muscle group for around 20 to 30 seconds on each leg before finishing the session.
So that's a full session that you can do to improve on your dribbling. A few shuttle runs to also work on our fitness, but it's important that we're able to maintain our technique whilst we're also tired. But yeah, like I said beforehand, it's important that we're able to dribble effectively and efficiently with the ball in order to gain yards for our team and create those opportunities for our teammates. But yeah, that's enough talking from me. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. But until next time,